IFR transition training from steam gauges with little to no automation to modern glass with insane capability, and doing it with an old friend.
Light wind, it looks like we'd want to take 0.9 if we needed to, make a crosswind landing. What are you saying?
Just nudge your RPM up a bit.
To get my pressure back up, yeah.
That was interesting. When I touched over here, it gave me an engine page.
Oh, that's new. I didn't know that was a thing. Could I have that? I love learning stuff. So intuitive, because otherwise you have to go split and then dial to it.
Dennis is the type of individual that when you jump in an airplane, he inspires you to do better. He teaches you the skills to walk away from that flight with more confidence.
Dennis works with Justin, his airliner captain buddy, so I trained with both of them.
I'm secure, you're secure, and we have clearance for the approach. Affirm. Brantford area traffic, Charlie Golf Alpha, RV14. We are commencing the simulated RNAV 05 via Mibla, expecting the field in 8 minutes, but we will do a mist.
That flight shop's there.
How you doing?
Good, you?
Not bad, just learning how to use all this awesome tech.
That's great.
Dennis got me comfortable flying IFR behind an old school 6-pack with no autopilot. He's my aviation mentor, sort of a flying Jedi Master Yoda. When it came time to learn to manage the latest and greatest avionics, he was my first call. I repositioned the airplane to work with him over the cold month of January 2022 to prepare to fly my instrument proficiency check behind this panel.
You have a home built that has the capabilities that far exceed a lot of aircraft nowadays, and I think that your ability to fly, your understanding of instrument flying, etc., is quite good. But now we want to integrate the goodies that you have in your airplane.
And you can do as much or as little of this with autopilot as you like.
We're not teaching you how to fly. We're not teaching you how to fly IFR, but what we are doing is giving you little, tools from our tool bag, and then you can take sort of the best from this very different backgrounds that we both have and sort of create your own toolbox on how you want to approach flying in IFR.
Each time I've wanted to try something new in aviation, I've reached out to Dennis.
Okay, so those numbers are pretty close. That's looking good. Descent is good. Profile's good.
And your minimum is?
I will start making an inventory. What is it that you want to accomplish? When do you want to accomplish it? What is your typical mission? Previous experiences, things that scared you, things that made you feel good. From there, I will start to formulate a plan in my head.
We did so much flying while the airplane was here that an oil change was required, and Dennis helped with that too.
Here is now the recipe of what we're going to do. Give you some homework. A lot of times, recommending some particular Flight Chops episode or something that people can watch.
Alright, so I literally feel like this is my first solo again.
Watching you learn how to fly this airplane sort of gave me the courage, I would say, to say, hey, I should try that. It looks like a lot of fun.
This episode picks up the IFR story, with Dennis helping get me to the next level.
Charlie Golf Alpha identified 3,000 feet, altimeter 3026. What altitude are you looking for?
4,000 initially for Charlie Golf Alpha.
Charlie Golf Alpha, that's approved.
4,000. So even with things like that, like if you get, you get a clearance to four selected.
Oh, say it out loud, right? Okay.
Yeah. Those are times you can say it out loud to, as part of a, like Justin and the guys do at work. It's an SOP, right? Cell 4,000. And then that way you confirm that that's what you put in the pre-select, and then things like that. 200 to go, right? Right. You hear the train whistle.
Anytime you hear a chime, you say why. What did I?
Why is it doing that?
I'm working with Dennis on a part-time basis within his company, Next Level Flight Training. And as you know, Steve, we've been working with you in your brand new RV14 with fantastic avionics. I've always been a huge fan of the Garmin stuff that we've had the opportunity to play with.
So after nearly a decade of Dennis helping me build Flight Chops, the least I can do is help get the word out about his company. And this episode will intercut between flying with Justin and Dennis.
So BCQ is entirely blind to me for a second there. Really? Yep. That's why you want to always do a zigzag before you hit something you haven't seen yet.
I remember watching one of your videos with Dennis when you were learning to fly the Super Cub and you were struggling because you had these big boots on you couldn't find the rudder pedals. And funny enough, about a year after you shot that video, I ended up owning this airplane, learning how to fly it myself. And it reminded me again why I wanted to fly as a career, and I just never looked back.
I did my best to fit as much of the wisdom I captured into this episode, but there are raw versions of the flights available to supporters.
The heat in this airplane is amazing.
Yeah.
Dennis was out with one of the club members doing a recurrency flight in the Super Cub this morning.
Look at that Super Cub go, eh? In this cold weather.
Yeah, man, that's fun. But he was off before the intersection.
Yep.
Let's see if we can beat that.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Rolling 3-2.
Justin's a different background, and that has a lot of really valuable contributions. Most institutions don't have the ability to teach beyond the lowest common denominator. That's the reality of having classrooms full of students, or having, a single type of an aircraft, or a whole bunch of people that are starting from the same point and their next objective is to solo or to get their license. But once they go to the next level, then we want to be able to provide them with a process that will allow them to do it, customized to what they want to learn, where they want to fly, who they want to fly with, what they're trying to do. And I don't think there's very many people that do that.
Flaps is required, fuel pump. Oh, wait, now. Okay, I'm going to stop the list there just because we're not here. And this is why I'm happy to be back to my 4-flight list, because it's the first time I've had it on. Up until now, I've been using the paper one. And I like being able to pause the list and know I won't lose where it was.
Oh, Clive just did a really nice wheelie landing. Nice job, Clive.
And back on board with Dennis, I'm using one of the first simple SOPs that Justin taught me.
Okay, so fuel check weather. So I'm going to have 25 gallons over destination. I need to subtract 10 from that, or from my reserve. That gives me 15. And I think I figured out it was Hamilton from Brantford is like 3 gallons. So that means I have 12, so I can hold for over an hour.
Yeah.
So that's my fuel check weather. And now I go to weather. I go to waypoint.
Charlie Golf Alpha, traffic 12 o'clock, a mile opposite direction, type in altitude unknown.
Golf Alpha has the traffic. See him?
I got him coming right at us, or
Yep.
what?
Charlie Golf Alpha, turn right heading 290.
with you at
Right, 290, Charlie Golf Alpha. You're going right at him. That was a...
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So anyways,
And again,
you got me
doesn't show up on traffic. It's some clown without even a transponder on.
Is that really what it is?
That's got to be. She says type in altitude unknown. Otherwise, she would say he was displaying a certain altitude.
Okay, so anyway, you wanted to be on 290?
Well, to avoid the traffic.
Yeah.
Charlie Golf Alpha, turn left heading 240, maintain 4,000.
Left 240, maintain 4,000, Charlie Golf Alpha. Okay, anyways, fuel check weather. So it's giving me Hamilton, which we knew is their source. So it's wind is 020, 17, temperature, or the visibility is good. Temperature is minus 15, so we're going to have to apply cold weather correction to any approaches we do today.
The Charlie Golf Alpha, traffic 2 o'clock, 5 miles southbound, 4,000 feet unverified.
Charlie Golf Alpha looking. Is it maybe
So that's him. So unverified means that she sees him with altitude output, but she's not talking to him.
So that right there is a whole new level of situational awareness. And of course, the weather data from SiriusXM is something I'll be talking about in future episodes. This still shot is from another flight, but I wanted to use it to show a close-up of the scoreboard, or the autopilot mode enunciator. We're constantly referring to it during this training, but it's hard to see sometimes. This setup is based on the G3X Touch and the GTN 750 Navigator. In the spring, I attended a course with Garmin going over this stuff in great detail, and that's worthy of its own episode, so watch for that soon.
And we'll call your weather check complete because it's clear in a million.
125.0 for
But this is a good time to remind myself that it's a temperature correction day.
Exactly.
If I didn't do that, I might forget. And for these numbers, cold weather temperature is required. So I think I go in here and press menu. Cold comp. So we'll use Hamilton, which is close enough. Minus 15 at the surface. Alright, so that's there. And then I get out of here, back. I should see snowflakes everywhere, which I do.
And for the barrel minimums like the MDA or the DH, we need to calculate that manually.
What we'll do is we'll look at the lowest one, which is 2400, and it's correcting it to 2580, so it's adding 180 feet. So let's just add 150 feet to our...
Sure.
So I would go to this, I say barrel minimum, and it's going to be 1300, and we're going to add 150, so it'll be 1450. What's it yellow? Traffic. You see him? He's 400 feet below.
Feet below. I'm not picking them up visually yet.
Oh, he's right under us. I mean, it's yellow.
Echo Lima November, the
I got him.
traffic at your 1 o'clock for a mile southwestbound,
Jeez, that was
500 feet
close.
below.
There is yellow here too.
Traffic, Echo Lima November.
That's cool.
Uniform, that's traffic safe.
Because I didn't have that screen up, and it just said, you're going to want to look at that.
Yep, and it's here too. And it just went away there.
Okay, where was I? I just got my minimum in, and 1450, enter. The bare minimum corrected is 1450.
You have to figure a lot of this stuff out yourself. I have some experience with the equipment that you have. I'm certainly not a complete expert on it because I'm always hopping back and forth between so many different airplanes and so many different systems. But they all have the same philosophy. What's important is that I keep you safe while you're experimenting. You have your head down in the weeds sometimes, but that's the way you learn. I'm really enjoying your enthusiasm trying to figure this out, but also make sure that it's very productive training, efficient for obvious reasons, and get you ready in a reasonable period of time and make sure you don't get frustrated.
Okay, so the traffic tank says it's off the nose. He's at 4, we're climbing to 3, and we've got 3,200, we got 3,200 set. Okay, so using pitch mode.
See how nice that is?
Yeah.
And then you can just feed in a little power to maintain, let's say, 140 knots, right?
Thank you, Roger.
Or whatever speed you want to maintain on the climb. Why don't you target 130 at the climb?
And the altimeter
Okay.
Hamilton.
So pitch
So you
up.
can pitch up. Yeah. To maybe 5, and then as it approaches 130, just feed in a little bit of power.
This is sort of a jet technique that Justin thought I should use in the RV14 because it helps avoid pitch hunting, and then we can switch to indicated airspeed mode.
And if you do it perfectly right, it'll stop right at 130 knots. Look at that.
Pretty close.
Beautiful.
And we're about to level up. So it's going to chime at me right now.
Yeah.
That's the chime saying 200 to go for the climb.
So I would say 200 to go for 3,200.
Okay.
The nice thing about flying with Dennis is that he has this special way of pointing out your foibles or mistakes in a way that you learn from, but doesn't sort of destroy your confidence.
Charlie Golf Alpha, expect the RNAV 05 in Brantford. You can go direct to Mibla when able, maintain 4,000.
Did you say 05?
I did.
Charlie Golf Alpha, that traffic turn northbound, not a factor.
Charlie Golf Alpha, thank you. Okay, Charlie Golf Alpha, expecting the RNAV 05 in Brantford, and I'm going to go direct Nibla, I think it was. Go look it up.
So that's where going into the flight plan and then, punching in the direct to Brantford so that now any subsequent instructions you give it are related to.
I needed to know Mibla because I wasn't sure how to spell it or what it was.
Okay, well, you can always ask, and as you said before, you can always ask for initial vectors as well, right?
Right, okay, so I'm here now, so I guess
He didn't say go there right away, he said go there when able, so that takes the pressure off.
Okay.
Okay, so again, just a quickie for you. So because you're cleared to go there right away,
I could have activated it?
You could have hit activate. So let's do that.
So do it again?
Yep.
So just kill it? How do I?
No, there's the approach. So now you just make sure it's Mibla and hit load approach and activate. So now if you go to nav, it'll go there. If you're cleared to go somewhere, just activate it. Don't add an extra button push to it. Okay?
Interesting. I thought I left this on weather. Did that come up on its own? I guess it did, eh?
Looks like it did.
That's cool.
Hey, Charlie Golf Alpha, we got an inbound to Brantford. We're going to have to put you into a hold for a minute. Advise when ready to copy your holding clearance.
Ready to copy for Charlie Golf Alpha?
Charlie Golf Alpha, I'd like you to hold at the Mibla waypoint at 4,000 feet. Inbound track of 140. And expect further clearance at 1700 Zulu.
Okay, we're going to hold at Mibla 4,000 feet, inbound 140, expecting further clearance at 1,700, and I'm going to assume standard turns.
If they don't say otherwise, it's standard turn. Otherwise, they would say hold non-standard.
Okay, so standard is right.
And remember, they're also expecting 1 minute legs unless you request distance based.
Okay, so I would definitely always say distance for this stuff,
But you got to ask for it.
Okay, so I'd like to do 3 mile legs, if that's
3
okay.
miles is approved.
All right.
So how cool is this? My mind is continually blown by how awesome this is, coming from a world where I used to have to figure out my hold entries and do everything manually. This is next level stuff. No pun intended.
Good here. Okay, so this drew it in as expected. So it's going to be direct entry. Okay, so then scoreboard, yaw damper, autopilot, GPS, altitude, and we're good. Okay, so Justin's thing is T-safe, so it's the type is Direct. Speed is going to be 120, so we'll slow it down. Altitude is 4,000. Fuel, we just did that talk before we got here. Expect further clearance is 17 Zulu.
If you want, I can brief the approach for you here. If you want to hear that.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your. What do you want to do it in the hold? You have. Well, you can do it so fast.
We've got 4.5 minutes.
So, Steve, I learned to fly in the military. I was one of those kids in 1986 that watched Top Gun, and I was forever changed after that. I knew at that age that what I wanted to do was be a pilot in the military, and I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. The last aircraft that I flew was the CT-114 Tudor, which is the same aircraft that the snowbirds fly.
This will be a simulated RNAV 05 to runway 05 in Brantford. Runway 05 in Brantford is 5,036 feet. That is sufficient.
That's it for that?
Yeah.
And you're going to the plate?
And I'm going to the plate. So it's the RNAV 05 in Brantford. The plate is 12-1, effective the 17th of June. Final approach course is 053. That's GPS generated. The glide path check altitude at SECO is 2,400 feet. We will temp comp that today, and we have temp comp that here 20. So at SECO it's 2578, and that has been temp comped. Down to MDA minimums of 1,300 feet. Let's set 1,300 feet.
By 2005.
Now, and we'll add 70 feet for your
1370.
confirm.
And we did that by interpolating from what we saw it corrected on the FAF.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. Airport elevation is 815. Runway is 808. Min sector is 3,200 feet. If we miss, we'll climb to 3,200 on track is 053 to Ernick, and that matches with what we see here. As required, shuttle climb up to 3,200. There's some notes here. Caution, procedure overlaps the Tilsonburg procedure. Safe altitude with 100 nautical miles to 4,900 feet, but we're severe cleared today, so we're not worrying about that. Use the Hamilton altimeter setting and pilot controlled lighting if required. We won't need it today. 122.825. We're expecting, we've got Rills and the Vazis are on the left-hand side. We've briefed the missed approach. When we touch down on runway 05, we'll expect a right turn on Bravo and then right into the gate. We're going into Brant Arrow today. 1 minute until we enter the hold, so we're still good. Fuel we've talked about, we've got lots of fuel, and if at any point during the approach we're not happy, we'll just go around and join the left downwind at, see what circuit altitude is there, at 1,800 feet. Briefing complete, any questions?
I just watched you go quickly back to the airport diagram afterwards.
Yeah, just to talk about, because in low visibility I want to know if I'm going to be turning left or right off the runway.
So you start with the airport diagram for lay of the land, then back to plate, then...
Yeah,
then
airport
finish.
diagram is to make sure I'm briefing an approach to a runway that I can land on with sufficient distance. So I'm looking at the distance first. 30 seconds, so we'll hold any discussion now until we're established in the hold.
Okay, so I'm slowing down.
You're now doing the radios. I'm Toronto, and you can let me know when you're entering the hold.
Gotcha.
I'm forever grateful to the Canadian military for teaching me to fly in the way that they did. As I transitioned into my production flight test career, the skills that I was taught in the military, how to approach an airplane, how to approach learning an airplane, got me through a lot of, let's say, sticky situations in production test flight. I think the military has a unique way that they train pilots. The standards are very high, they need to be. You're left with just an incredible skill set base that will carry you through the rest of your career.
Okay, so Toronto Charlie Golf Alpha is just entering the hold at Midla.
Good. And look at that.
Speed.
So I want to see 120, Steve, not 122, not 118. All right, 120.
So during the hold, it was just a matter of monitoring it, but let's get back on board with Dennis for exiting the hold.
Okay. Terminal mode now, so I'm going to hit approach because I cleared, or I should wait until it turns, right? Because it might get confused if I don't.
I don't think it will.
Okay, so I'm going to do it now then because we're turning.
Sure.
Approach mode, GP is white, so that means it's armed.
Yep.
And I should tell it to go down there though now, right?
To where?
25?
No, because you haven't passed. If you do want to go down, you would have to wait till you pass Mibla, because your segment, your MSA for the area is not 2,500.
It's not until I pass Mibla.
Right.
Right.
Okay, and then there's one other thing you got to make sure you catch.
I got to watch this unsuspend.
You'd have to unsuspend.
Oh, because I didn't tell it to exit the hold.
Right, so how do you tell it to exit the hold?
Like here?
There's one. Exit hold. What else? What other ways will make it happen?
I don't think I can unsuspend.
Yeah, you go back to the main map screen. So now you have unsuspend.
If I just
And then the third way,
kill
procedure and activate approach.
Oh, because I'm telling you autopilot. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so what do you think is the best way?
Whatever's easiest, whatever is handy.
To me, it sounds like activate approach makes sense.
Yeah, so you go menu.
Oh, I gotta go to the map, right?
Have to go to procedure. So there you activate approach would do the same thing. Say if you hit it now, the suspend is now gone. But I'm just showing you have 3 different options. Exit the hold, but that depends on what screen you're in. If you're in a screen where it's easy to just hit procedure, activate approach, or if you're in the map screen where the OBS button is visible, that will unsuspend.
Foxtrot Tango uniform and the missed approach, climb runway
and
heading
then we would also
4,000
talk to Brantford, blah, blah, blah. We could be monitoring them.
Should have done that already because I'm already beginning the approach. I'm supposed to do it 5
so
minutes.
what I'm going to do is
monitor so I can hear it.
Monitor.
Also, what I did is I briefed my speed, but I didn't dial it back. So we're booking here. And
Okay, so where is it going?
yeah, it's still in the hold, eh?
Right, so something has gone wonky.
So I'm going to kill the autopilot and
And now what would you do? How would you save your bacon?
I'd get back in here and activate the approach, right? Procedure.
Well, now it'll try and go back to MIBLA. Go back to your procedure, go back to the stack, flight plan. What's the next waypoint?
Voodoo,
Direct 2. There you go.
So we're a little crooked, but I can still do this, and I can get the autopilot back on. Still in approach mode.
Yeah, and you said you're safe down to 24, so you can start enacting a descent. Yeah, who knows what happened, right? Stray electrons. Even when your automation is running the ship, you got to keep an eye on it.
Interesting, because we think we had it right?
I thought so.
We have a tape, we can review what we did wrong there. But okay, but yeah, good point. You're watching it, and it started the turn, so kicking it off.
And this is nice, because this is always telling me what it's doing, what is it in the process of doing. That's something that you don't have there. Like, where is your active leg?
Unless I put it on this screen.
Right.
Okay, so we're heading down. So what speed are you targeting now? 95 or whatever, just between 90 and 100, so I got ready for flaps. Okay.
What speed are you targeting?
95.
95.
So when I put flaps down, I'm gonna have to retweak it. Okay. But then I'm targeting 90.
Just let me know what you're targeting so I can squawk at you when you're not exactly at that number. But see how much better your speed control's gotten just in half an hour?
Yeah.
When you pick a speed and fly it?
Yeah.
So in part 2, we'll fly the approach and talk about executing a mist with this automation. Thanks to sponsors and supporters for helping create this content, and thanks to Dennis for helping keep our flight shop sharp since the start.
I can't do everything in flight training. I don't have experience in every kind of aircraft. You want to learn how to fly a jet? I can't help you with that. But I've associated myself with people that do. So areas that I can't cover, Justin can. But none of us are going to tell you that we can do something if we can't.
Dennis has the capability, because of his experience, to work with you regardless of what your own personal next level is and help you get there.
Justin's good with everything from Dash 8s and business jets, and I'm from just below that right down to, you know, the good old Piper Super Cub. If it is what we know how to do, you can rest assured you'll get the best.